Right, now we have 1 Week Friends. This is another 8 out of 10. Yeah, I really like this one as well. Yeah, very, very sweet show, I think would be the best word. This very, very pleasant, very nice. Kind of like non-Biori in that kind of way. Except this actually did have a plot, which, I previously mentioned did not. Yeah, nice characters. I really like the animation style in this. It looked really nice. Lovely music. Just very, very pleasant, very nice. Yeah, glad I watched it. Solid enough resolution and arc. Really hoping for an additional season at some point down the line, but I'm not holding my breath, Brainspace aren't well known for doing second seasons, unfortunately. I really would like to see more of this. Next up we have Love Live School Idol Project Season 2, which is a 7 out of 10 for me. Yeah, Love Live's a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. It's so twee and overly cheery and, sunshine, and I should find it really trite and aggravating, but I don't. It just works. It's just funny enough and just well written enough and just nicely enough put together that it all really holds up, in spite of my cynical inner desire to not like it. Pretty much exactly as good as the first season of Love Live was in pretty much all the same ways. It's more Love Live, basically, If you liked season 1, you'll like season 2. Fun as ever, nicely animated, the characters are fun, songs are fun enough, not the kind of thing like I would listen to recreationally, but it all works in the context of the series, and there's going to be a movie, apparently. I was not actually expecting that, not even a little bit. I was unsure of what they were going to end the series like, because, it's a bit of a cash cow for the people producing it, and all the characters are. But yeah, there's a movie to finish wrapping things up. If I had to put a prediction in, I'd say it's probably going to result in the entire group going pro, and then the lineup doesn't have to change with people leaving school because it doesn't matter. They'll not be school idols necessarily anymore. They might have to change the name of the franchise or just keep it anyway. They can be eternally 50 or whatever forever. They're animated. Who gives a shit? Pretty much as good as the first season. Liked it. Quite looking forward to the film more than I will probably admit to people in real life. Now we have Mekakucity actors. Even now I'm hesitating the score to give this one. We'll nestle at a 7 out of 10. I was going to be a bit more generous and give an 8 or something, or maybe a 7.5, but we'll stick at 7. I really, really wanted to love this series. I really do. This had more potential, I think, than any other series that aired, probably. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good, but it's not great. And it keeps threatening greatness. You keep getting little flashes of something spectacular just dying to come out, and it just never quite holds together. It just kind of slips back into just being good. The pacing was quite iffy. Some episodes are quite slow and don't really contribute much to the overall story. Others are really quick and really rapid fire, and huge developments and plot points and character points will just be skipped over and it'll just rush onto the next thing. Nicely animated. I liked the songs for the most part. Plot was interesting, but again, some stuff is, really dragged out unnecessarily laboriously. Not going to drop spoilers, but a lot of stuff happens in that last episode. Huge amounts of information are dumped, and we skip through a lot of stuff, and it's so fast, and it's like everything's blur and it's going by so quick. And yet other episodes, it'll be an entire episode dedicated to one character's backstory that you could have summed up in probably about 5 minutes without really losing much of anything. And then here in the finale we've got 3 or 4 episodes of stuff, 2 at the very, very least, just kind of flying past, and it's like, oh, this and this revelation and this thing about this character, and this is the plot, and this is that, and this is the explanation of all of that, and it's just stuff. Yeah, spoiler warning here, skipped a time code. They really should have split that finale into 2 episodes. I think would have held it together a lot better. And the first one of those 2 episodes, I'd say, where Marie's just about to go all full Snake and reverse the timeline and all that and skip everything back, then you've got more time to focus on building up the villain and his plot, and there's more time to focus on character stuff like Annie getting back in her body, which we didn't see happen. It just happens off screen. Last we see Asha's looking at a somehow restored body, and then she presumably pops back into it between episodes, and nobody asks about it. She just turns up and she's alive again, and nobody asks. Yeah, and stuff like her talking with Konoha and, that kind of stuff could have been put in, instead it's just, oh, I tried to talk to him but he seems different, and it's like, oh, right, whatever, we've got to move on to that stuff. And then in the second episode you get more time to develop, explaining exactly what the fuck's going on at the end there. because a lot of stuff is really skimmed over and you're obviously supposed to put like a lot of it together yourself and judge exactly what's happening from Mari going apeshit onwards, when there's all sorts of stuff going on. There's people coming back from seemingly the dead and escaping from the days, and there's other people being erased and all sorts of stuff going on. Yeah, really needed more time to develop all that was going on in that finale. I really did want to love this series, but I just can't quite. It just doesn't hold together quite as well as I would like it to. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that CG in, honestly, episode 11, I might be wrong, but if you've seen it, you know the CG I'm talking about. My God. You know, it makes you realise how good Knights of Sidonia, actually, Knights of Sidonia even, actually does look. You know, that show doesn't look perfect, but it can be worse. Also makes the sometimes very stiff and awkward CG in the Love Live song sequences look amazing by comparison. So yeah, overall, liked it. Really wish I could love it. I'll probably check out the stuff like the songs and the manga and the light novels. I'm sure the light novels and manga are getting translated in official English soon, actually. I'm sure I heard something like that. So yeah, probably will give it a look. Right, now we have the carryover from the last season, Nisekoi, which I give a 7 out of 10. Oh, Nisekoi. I have very mixed feelings about Nisekoi. I simultaneously like and absolutely cannot stand Nisekoi. It's a lot of what's wrong with anime and harems especially, just kind of condensed and purified, and I should hate it, but I can't quite bring myself to. Like, whenever I'm not watching it, I'm like, I don't want to watch any more Nisekoi. I'm like, I'm pretty much done with it. There's so much padding and time wasting and misunderstandings, bullshit, and then I'll start watching it again. I'll really enjoy pretty much every episode, and yeah, I'm not really one for the harem stuff personally. It doesn't really do much of anything for me. I like, a plot, and Nisekoi did actually have somewhat of the undercurrent plot of, the promise girl and the keys and all that, but it was so stretched out and so torturously. And my understanding is that the part of the manga the series has adapted so far is like the busy part. And that's the first 50 or so, I think, chapters, and the second 50 or so of the current chapters are the slow ones. And I struggle to think of something slower in terms of plot development than what Nisekoi already is. That's kind of amazing to me that that's actually a thing. Very nicely animated. I think it looked nice. It looked nice for the most part. At times, Shaft does get a bit overly masturbatory with its look at how stylish we are. This happened in Mekakucity actors as well. They do get carried away sometimes. I think it works for the most part, but not everything needs to be accompanied by sparkles and shiny backgrounds and all sorts of stuff like that. Characters were pretty much alright. Yeah, they're all pretty much your standard stereotypes, and you can tell a mile away how things are going to end up in the end. The series is called False Love, and I wonder which certain two characters that could be referring to. And it's obvious. I haven't read any of the manga, so don't think I'm dropping any kind of spoilers. Yeah, it's obvious that when the story finally concludes, it's going to end up with Chitoji and Raku together. It's, duh. They couldn't be telegraphing it harder. Like every other girl, there's obviously just, obstacle Chitoji must overcome. Like Onodera especially just has something Chitoji is going to have to get over, is going to have to step over, essentially written all over her face. Kind of wish I could hate Nisekoi, but I can't quite bring myself to. And because it's theoretically possible that somebody will ask best girl, obviously Shu. Come on. That face. As if you could say no. And now we have Nanana's Buried Treasure. This is also a 7 out of 10. Yeah, overall I'd say I like the series. Very interesting premise, I thought. Interesting story. I like the characters for the most part. One major criticism I would give of the series: far too many characters. Way too big of a cast. Yeah, there's just so many people. Not even people who don't actually appear on screen whose names we're supposed to know, like members of the previous Adventure Club and, all of the current members, and, you've got Nanana and, the landlord and various side. There's so many side characters in this series. There's so many people. And they're all so crammed in, and there's not enough time for everyone. I can't remember anyone's names except for Nanana, Jugo, and Tensai. That's how crammed the series is. I just could not even begin to remember anybody else's name. Very nicely animated. I thought this looked really nice. Again, interesting story. Not a very good ending. Yeah, very, very, very open. It didn't end so much as it just stopped that particular arc, obviously. Like, it obviously just wrapped up that light novel and then just wait for season 2 now. Even a little bit of season 2 bait. And I haven't looked at any sales figures yet about this series. I have heard, although this was like the person who told me had heard from somebody else, so, several degrees of separation from the truth. Yeah, I may be wrong. It looks like it's not going to sell very well. So it's probably not going to be wrapped up. The most frustrating kind of non-ending. My least favourite thing about anime, frustrating non-endings, because either the manga or the light novels aren't finished yet, or they're really banking heavily on a second series that isn't going to come. And spoiler one thing I've really got to address, something that hangs over the whole series. Club president, one for glasses, my god. Yeah, this is kind of a problem for like the entire last half or so of the series, 2/3 or so. I think it's in episode 5 where this happens. We're supposed to like him for most of the series, you know, even towards the end we're supposed, you know, to fill out his backstory a bit more, and we're supposed to feel for him and we're supposed to like him. He tries to conquer the world. Yeah, he uses that magic staff and he wants world conquest in like, I think it's episode 5, and we're supposed to forget about that in later episodes because he gets stopped. He literally tried to conquer the world. World conquest is what he tried to do. And we're just supposed to be like, oh, it's fine, it's fine. He was stopped and I'm sure he feels bad about it. Just, no, he tried to conquer the world. Literally. He did the most supervillainy thing of almost any character in any show this season. Like, there's only a couple of people more outright villainous than him, and we're supposed to like him for the rest of the series. We're supposed to apparently pretty much forget about it. Like, it's made jokes about it later on in the series, the fact that he tried to conquer the world. My god. Hopeful for a second series of this, but it might not happen, which would suck. Yeah, fingers crossed. Right, now we have Selector infected WIXOSS. This is another... See, I'm very caught between a 7 and 8 out of 10. And we'll go 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, overall I like this one. I know some people didn't, largely because of how much it owes to Madoka, and yeah, that influence is extremely blatant and, you know, not at all subtle. But, you know, it doesn't really bother me at all. You know, Madoka is influential. You know, it's essentially changed the face of anime, especially the magical girl genre. It's essentially spawned a subgenre, magical girl deconstruction. And I think getting upset about another series being like Madoka at this point is entirely pointless. It's to be expected now. Sometime soon, something that is hugely inspired by Madoka's tone and whatnot is going to pop up here and there. You know, it's going to happen. There's not much point in harping on about it now. All that matters is how well the series holds up entirely in its own right. Influential shows come along every so often. Pretty much everything after will try to ape it a little bit. Yeah, in its own merits, WIXOSS holds up pretty well, I thought. Characters are solid for the most part. We've got an entire second season coming. That's also going to be in the fall, along with the second season of Chaika, I think. Yeah, interesting-ish plot. I mean, you could see the dark twist coming like a mile away, obviously the Madoka influence. Although I didn't actually see the second. You know, this one actually has 2 big dark twists. I didn't actually see the second one coming. The first one was, you know, fairly obvious. Didn't see the second one coming. I'm quite looking forward to seeing where it goes from here. I do think this holds together pretty well overall. I'm interested in where the plot's going to go. One weird thing to talk about. A big pet hate of mine in anime is the kind of... This is more recent. It has been around for a while, but it's becoming like... It's everywhere now. The kind of sister complex thing, you know, you get like in your fucking Oreimos and it's a no game, no life in Mahoka at the minute, and really not fond of that. You know, I have siblings, not sisters, but you know, that's weird. You know, I would rather creepy fetishes for not otherwise unrelated stuff. But this is the only case I can think of where a character of a sister with not a sister complex, a brother complex, I suppose it would be, or a character was attracted to their sibling and it was done right in that it's not fetishized for the audience. You're not supposed to think this is hot. It's kind of a source of actual torment for the character in question, or it's something the character's deeply, deeply ashamed of, crying herself to sleep at night and stuff like that. And, you know, that's like, I'm watching it, I'm like, yeah, that is pretty much how I imagine somebody in that situation would feel. They wouldn't just be like, you know, blushing at their own E-chan and all that, you know, a pretty deburning kind of discomforting thing to have. Kudos to them for doing that correctly. Also, this is a terrible, terrible advertisement for that card game. Like, hey kids, play WIXOSS, it'll destroy your life, you know, spoilers. WIXOSS will fucking steal your soul. Go out and buy our card game. Just going for the most famous card game anime that springs immediately to mind when Yu-Gi-Oh! Is all about, you know, using these magical cards to save the world from evil and that, and WIXOSS is like, this game will fucking end you. It will take your soul and destroy all of your dreams. If you lose everything. If you win, you pretty much still lose everything, but somebody else does slightly better out of it, so there's that at least. But yeah, I'm looking forward to more of this, looking forward to seeing where the plot goes. Now we have Knights of Sidonia, or Sidonia, or however you want to pronounce it. We have another 8 out of 10 here. I really like this one, a bit of a standout of the series, I thought. CG animation, yeah, it looked kind of uncanny valley-ish and stiff at times. It looks better at 60 frames per second. I watched the last few episodes in that format. It does actually look a lot smoother, a lot just generally nicer, a bit more polished. But yeah, it's not there yet. I'm not going to really rag on about the animation because it is a work in progress, CG animation anime. It is going to take time until it's there. And you know, we do need stuff like Sidonia as stepping stones so we can get where, you know, CG ends up looking really good. I mean, as I said, it looks a lot better than what we saw in Mekakucity actors. So yeah, it did look pretty decent overall, I'd say. I mean, it is going to look dated very quickly. Yeah, solid enough. Solid, very solid series. I like the premise. The characters were good for the most part. Like, the only characters I disliked were the ones you were obviously supposed to. Like, I have hated no character more this season than Kunato, because fuck him sideways. Hope bad things come to him in upcoming second season. Again, another series that's already confirmed to have a second season. A lot of rapid fire continuations this season, you know, a few second seasons. We're gonna film with Love Live on the way. A lot of stuff already lined up to come out here. I like how Sidonia, unlike say Attack on Titan, isn't afraid to kill off major characters. Like, as you're watching Attack on Titan, it becomes pretty obvious pretty quickly that there are quite a few characters who aren't gonna die at any point, at least in a hurry. It becomes clear who's expendable and who's not. In Sidonia though, like really pretty major people got at least one really major character got axed in Sidonia, like a bigger character than anybody in Attack on Titan who actually died. So I appreciate that. Going back to the CG, I thought the space parts looked better than the character animations. They looked really excellent. Yeah, it was the faces more than anything else that didn't look quite right. But yeah, I really enjoyed this overall. Nice tone. Not all of the jokes quite landed. Some of the funnier parts worked, a few didn't. Solid kind of grim action series. I'll definitely look forward to the second season. And last but not least, we have Tonari no Seki-Kun, another 8 out of 10. Right, how do I justify giving a series of 7-minute shorts that are pretty much all down to Hana Kanazawa overreacting to things an 8 out of 10? Right? This is just a really fun little series of shorts, you know, it never outstays its welcome. Quick few minutes of runtime, gets a few laughs out of you, and then it's gone. You know, it never really drags out jokes. It's just very solid little comedy series. Really enjoyed this one. I really hope there's more. I want more of the robot family is what I want. More robot family. And yeah, just overall nice, fun little series. Brightens up your week a little bit for, you know, 7 or so minutes at a time.